everybody. I'm Brooke Warner, publisher of She Writes Press, and this is part of an FAQ series about questions that authors and prospective authors are curious to know about our business model. So this one has to do with how you should think about your investment. Hybrid publishing is an author-invested publishing model, but it's not self-publishing. It's different in many ways, and I have another video called "What is Hybrid?" So we'll put that in the links here so that you can toggle over to that if you're interested. But it's also not trying to be traditional publishing. In terms of hybrid publishing, you are always going to have a laydown of money, which is going to look different across hybrid publishers. In the case of She Writes Press, we have the cost of the publishing package. Plus, authors cover the cost of manufacturing, the actual printing cost, which is usually about $3 to $4 per book. And then optional is publicity and marketing, which most authors invest in. And so when you think about your investment as an author, you want to take all of your costs into consideration, of course, and then you want to think about how many books you will need to sell to recoup that investment. So the way that this is primarily different from traditional publishing, of course, is that with a traditional publisher, if you're lucky, you get an advance. The publisher wants to recoup its advance in the very same way that you want to recoup your investment. And so the primary difference between the two is that if you are a traditionally published author, you have to wait until that entire advance and your expenses are earned back by the publisher before you ever start earning money. Whereas in hybrid publishing, you are trying to earn back your investment. And so you're waiting to try to recoup those dollars to get to zero. And once you are at zero, once you break even, you have recouped all of the money that you have spent. I always say that that's a huge win. If you can recoup all of your investments, then you're doing well in the hybrid model. And so it's just important to understand how many books you will need to sell. That's across print and ebooks. And of course, that's going to be different for every author because you're looking at price point and you're looking at what your earnings are per book, which are going to be different depending on the hybrid publisher that you're with. So you want to look at that information. In the She Writes Press author handbook, we do a breakdown of exactly how much you will earn per book on both print and ebooks. But go into this experience knowing what you're going to earn per unit so that you're very clear about both A, what you're investing, and B, what you have to do in order to earn out. Now, I do want to say that I don't think that hybrid publishing is inexpensive. I also think that we at She Writes Press have a very high standard of publishing, and so things may be more expensive than some other hybrid publishers, but I actually think we're kind of in the middle in terms of what our price points are. And then the third thing about earnings is that it is about the money and it will never not be about the money, but it's not only about the money. For a lot of the authors that publish with us, visibility, access, getting their work into the world in meaningful ways, being reviewed, touching readers with their work, having the distribution of Simon & Schuster into the marketplace so that your books are in bookstores and libraries, all of those things carry a lot of weight. And so it's true that not all of our authors earn out, and we're very transparent about that. But we, of course, are advocating and doing everything that we can to get your book into the marketplace for the possibility to earn out. And I do encourage authors to think about that idea of earning out being recouping your investment. That would be a goal. And I will say, because some authors don't reach that goal, that I don't think it's a failure if you don't recoup your investment. Money is a tricky conversation to have. I always like to talk about it. I'm very clear that I want to be transparent about money and want authors to know what they're getting themselves into. So thanks for listening to this video. And if you're thinking about becoming a She Writes Press author, know that I'm here to answer any of your other questions about finances.